The mahogany table gleamed under the crystal chandelier, reflecting the faces of 12 executives who'd never known what it meant to choose between feeding their children and paying rent. At the head sat Marcus Wellington III, whose $4,000 suit cost more than some people earned in 2 months. He was mid-sentence, pontificating about quarterly profits, when the door creaked open. Sorry, came a quiet voice. Miguel Santos slipped inside, pushing his cleaning cart, eyes downcast. I'll just be a minute, Marcus stopped speaking. The room fell silent except for the soft squeak of Miguel's cartwheels. Someone coughed. Another executive checked his watch with exaggerated impatience. Excuse me, Marcus's voice dripped with condescension. We're in the middle of an important meeting here. Surely the floors can wait? Miguel's weathered hands gripped the cart handle tighter. The cleaning schedule. The cleaning schedule? Marcus laughed, a sharp, brittle sound that made several executives join in nervously. Let me tell you about schedules, friend. I have a meeting with investors in Tokyo in 3 hours. I have 1,400 employees, depending on my decisions. And you're worried about mopping? Miguel's face flushed, but he nodded quietly and began backing toward the doors. He turned. A worn paper napkin fluttered from his shirt pocket to the polished floor. Jesus is leaving trash now, someone muttered. Wait, Marcus stood, his 6'2" frame towering, as he strode across the room. He bent down, plucking the napkin between 2 fingers, like it might contaminate him. What's this? Love notes from your... He paused, his expression shifting as he glimpsed the napkin's surface. It was covered in cramped handwriting, numbers, formulas, diagrams. It's nothing. Miguel reached for it, but Marcus pulled back his eyes, scanning the contents. Where did you get this? The mockery had vanished from Marcus' voice. I was just thinking about the problem. I heard you talking last week about the polymer issue with the waterproofing. The instability at high temperatures. Miguel's voice was barely audible. I used to work in manufacturing before I had to take whatever job I could get. Marcus stared at the napkin, then at Miguel. These calculations, this formula modification, where did you study? Mate chemical engineering. Full scholarship? Miguel's eyes glistened. That was before my wife got sick. Before the medical bills. Before I became a single father to 2 kids who needed me more than I needed a career. The boardroom had gone completely still. Even the air conditioning seemed to hold its breath. Marcus looked down at the napkin again. For 3 months, his company had been hemorrhaging money on a failed product line premium. Outdoor gear that degraded in heat. They had hired consultants, brought in specialists from 3 countries, burned through millions, and here, on a janitor's napkin scrawled in pen during stolen moments, might be the answer. Get our chief chemist up here, Marcus said quietly to his assistant now. 20 minutes later, Dr. Sarah Chen stood in the boardroom. Miguel's napkin spread before her on the table. Her hands trembled as she worked through the equations. The room watched in silence as she checked, rechecked, then looked up with tears in her eyes. It's brilliant, she whispered. It's so simple I can't believe we missed it. This polymer chain modification would eliminate the thermal instability entirely, and it wouldn't require retooling our manufacturing. Miguel, this could save the entire product line. Marcus sank into his chair. He thought about the dismissive laugh he'd given minutes ago. He thought about the man. He'd become so insulated by wealth and success that he'd forgotten the fundamental truth his own grandfather had taught him. Wisdom doesn't wear a price tag. Miguel! Marcus's voice was hoarse. Sit down, please. Miguel hesitated, then pulled out a chair, perching on its edge like a bird ready to flee. Tell me about your children, Marcus said. The question clearly surprised Miguel. Sophia's 8, loves science, wants to be an astronaut, and Mateo just turned 6. He's struggling in school. I work nights here, days at a warehouse, trying to save enough to get him the tutoring he needs, maybe afford a better apartment in a better school district. And you still had time to solve our $1 million problem? On your break? Miguel shrugged. I heard the engineers talking, and I guess I miss it, using my brain that way. I do equations in my head while I mop floors. Keeps me sharp. Keeps me hoping that maybe someday... He trailed off. Marcus stood abruptly, startling everyone. He walked to the window, looking out at the city sprawling below. His city, built on the backs of people like Miguel, people he'd never bothered to see. I want to tell you a story, Marcus said, still facing the window. My grandfather started this company in a garage. He was an immigrant who spoke broken English and worked 3 jobs. He used to say, "Marcus, never forget every person. You may know something you don't. The moment you think. You're the smartest person in the room is the moment you stop growing." He turned back to face Miguel. I forgot that. Somewhere between the corner office and the private jet, I forgot what made this company great. I forgot to see people. "Dr. Chen," Marcus said, "what would implementing Miguel's solution mean for us?" "Conservatively, we'd save the product line, which means saving 300 jobs. We'd beat our competitors to market by 6 months. We're looking at an estimated 80 million in revenue over the next 2 years. Marcus nodded slowly. "Miguel, I owe you an apology. Not just for today, but for every day that you've worked in this building, and I've walked past you like you were invisible. You're not a janitor. I mean, you are, but you're also an engineer, a father, a problem solver, and clearly a better man than I've been. I'm offering you a position. Head of our innovation team, salary of $250,000 to start, full benefits. And I want you to bring that mind of yours to every problem we face. But more than that, I'm setting up a program, the Second Chances Initiative. For every employee in this building, whether they're cleaning bathrooms or leading departments, we're going to find out what they're capable of. We're going to invest in people again." Miguel's tears fell freely now. "I don't know what to say. Say you'll take your kids to Disneyland. Say you'll stop working yourself to death. Say you'll help me remember what this company was supposed to be about." Miguel stood extending his hand. When Marcus grasped it, he pulled Miguel into an embrace. Around the table, executives who'd laughed minutes ago sat with varying expressions of shame, wonder, and perhaps, for some, the beginning of understanding. The napkin was later framed and hung in the lobby, not as a trophy but as a reminder. Beneath it, a plaque read, "Wisdom wears work boots. Humility opens doors. Respect costs nothing but returns everything." 6 months later, Miguel's formula had indeed saved the company. But more than that, the Second Chances Initiative had uncovered a security guard with a gift for coding, a receptionist with a genius for marketing, and a facilities manager with revolutionary ideas about sustainable energy. And Marcus, he still sat at the head of the boardroom table. But now he made sure to learn the name of every person who walked through the door, no matter what their job title, because a crumpled napkin had taught him what his business degree never could. That every human being carries infinite worth, and the smallest act of recognition can change not just one life, but ripple outward to change the world.